Hello, everybody. My name is Noz Urbina, and I am presenting Truth Collapse, when AIs are participants in culture. A little bit about me and my history in DITA. I'm Noz Urbina. I am founder and principal of Urbina Consulting. I've been working with DITA and structured content since its earliest public days. I've been on some of the first projects in DITA ever. I've trained hundreds of people. I'm wondering if it's even over 1,000 people in DITA over my career. I've worked on the largest DITA implementation in the world with, as far as I know, as I've been able to find out, with over 30,000 authors. I have done in-depth reviews of every major DITA CMS and authoring tool, and I've had the honor of being the opening keynote at the first DITA World, and I am delighted to be back. So thank you, Stefan. I've also founded 3 organizations in my time: Urbina Consulting, our consulting operation; Omnichannel X, where we do our podcasting and knowledge sharing; and now Truth Collapse, which I'm going to be talking about today, where we talk about not just how you can take advantage of AI and technology, but also the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what dangers it poses to society. I am a leader, a very proud leader of an extended team of dozens of specialists, and we work mainly in Europe and North America. But why am I even talking about truth at a DITA event? We're moving from a world of AI-curated content to AI-generated content. And I'm going to be talking a lot about what that transition looks like and means later. DITA is a structured semantic format that adds more meaning and metadata to content. I'm the closing keynote, so I'm not going to explain DITA to you, but I want to talk about how DITA and technology like knowledge graphs can provide rules and context to AI, helping enabling explainability and reliability. And related to the topic, probably nobody is putting their nonsense in DITA, I hope. The point for me raising it is semantic relationships support human relationships. Semantic content and data contain relationships that are meaningful to humans. When we say semantic data has meaning, it's about human understanding. So when we say machinery topic is a kind of task topic, is a kind of topic, and we put on all that metadata, we are making data more human readable as well as more machine readable. And I think it's important to remember that. All that taxonomy, all that stuff that we put on, it's for humans and machines. And the more we think about the human experience, the better our result is going to be. Data contained as content that's tagged becomes data. Basically, for decades, we've been preparing ourselves and our content for this moment in history. I'm going to be talking about the need to be able to take good care of content, because it's all about that base. Content quality is the next frontier of AI performance improvement. I've got some quotes here. To increase the efficiency, you do need to come up with very high quality data. Data is the one important thing. That's from Arthur Mensch from Google DeepMind. All the architecture is fun, making hardware efficient is fun, but ultimately it's about data. That's Tree Dao from Mamba. And Sebastian Bubeck from Microsoft Research says that textbook quality data gives you 1,000 times gains. Suddenly, when we focus around the data and focus on really trying to craft data in a way that's more digestible by the LLM at training time, we saw these incredible 1,000x gains. I think it's massive and really points to where the gold is. The gold is in the data. And content, especially structured content, is data to AI people. The good news is we're experts in the data. So we are some of the people who are going to help build the systems and navigate the world going forward. That's the good news. The rest of this presentation may be much harder, but we are in hard times, and I am just trying to help us navigate them. Let's hear from Elon Musk back in 1998.
See as the future of the internet?
I think the internet is the superset of all media. It is the be-all and end-all of media. One will see print, broadcast, arguably radio, essentially all media folding into the internet. It's the first of two-way communication medium that is intelligent. It allows consumers to choose what they want to see, when they want to see it, and whether that be radio, whether that be print, whether that be television, broadcast. I think it's going to revolutionize all traditional media.
So the be-all and end-all is a pretty heavy statement, but I do agree with some of Elon's positions. He mentions intelligence, so he's already talking about the role of the system as something that is more than a communications network, but has its own intelligence. And yes, even in the 90s, we had algorithms that were actively involved in what we see. I do disagree with this idea of the consumer's ability to choose, and we're going to talk a lot more about that. But first, let's hear from another visionary, David Bowie, speaking only 1 year later.
But what is it specifically about the internet? I mean, anybody can say anything.
I think that we, up until at least the mid-70s, really felt that we were still living in the guise of a single and absolute created society where there were known truths and known lies, and there was no kind of duplicity or pluralism about the things that we believed in. I don't think we've even seen the tip of the iceberg. I think the potential of what the internet is going to do to society, both good and bad, is unimaginable. I think we're actually on the cusp of something exhilarating and terrifying. I'm talking about the actual context and the state of content is going to be so different to anything that we can really envisage at the moment, where the interplay between the user and the provider will be so in simpatico. It's going to crush our ideas of what mediums are all about.
So for me, that is a much more sophisticated prediction. And I want to highlight where he talks about the idea of the changing role of the user and the provider. And I think we've seen that play out. And I'm going to talk more about this idea of what the medium was and what the medium really is. Let's hear again from Elon Musk, now just 15 months ago.
Important news. Elon Musk's project has scared the government and big banks. He has come up with a new secret investment that has made hundreds of people very rich. The businessman inventor urged everyone to take advantage of this amazing opportunity.
My new project will only be available to Canadian citizens for a limited time. We have developed powerful software. That means you can start earning $237 every hour, starting right now. $237 every hour, every day for the rest of your life.
So I hope you noticed that was a deep fake scam. That was an AI-generated Elon Musk trying to rip people off. That ad came up next to one of my clients' videos on YouTube, and I captured it because I thought that would be an interesting example. AI deepfakes and AI-generated video was at that time in what we call the 6 fingers phase, when we had images that every image was generated with 6 fingers on every hand. They're pretty easy to spot and sound pretty bad. But it raises the topic for me now of artificial intelligence, not just the internet, but an AI. What is an AI? For me, my simple definition is machines that learn. What I want to highlight, to cut through all the hype, is just that AI is not like traditional software. It is not programmed by a human being who understands everything that it does. It's grown. We give it food, which we call data, and then we give it goals. And if it doesn't achieve those goals, then we kill it. So AI evolves like natural selection. And like biology, we don't fully understand it. This is an example I like to use. These are termites. They build these huge, complex structures with farms and ventilation and different entrances and exits. But the way they do it is surprisingly simple. The termites begin with a surprisingly simple rule. When they encounter a piece of dirt on an incline, they drop their own load of dirt on top of it. The building process does not require any centralized coordination, but emerges from the repeated local interactions between the termites and their environment. The method creates a feedback loop. As dirt accumulates in one area, it encourages more termites to deposit their loads there, leading to the formation of towering mounds. I can think of no better metaphor for how an algorithm works. So if we think about the internet or any digital communication media, we start with human-generated content, our words, our posts, our videos, etc. But the moment someone interacts, they like, they hover, they add to a playlist, and especially if they share or comment, the feedback loop begins. Certain content gets elevated above the rest. And it's not just any content, it's always the spikier, different content. It's the content that touches our emotions. The content that gets elevated is the things that arouses us, our disgust, our lust, our jealousy, our anger, our outrage. So simply by highlighting what is most engaging, it highlights what is most extreme. And it kills nuance. We create these islands where everything below the peaks is basically disappears. And then we are fed a normalized, reflattened, filtered view of the extreme. It looks normal to us because we don't see the process, we only see the result. And that's how we see the world. Search further filters and highlights the most extreme because who clicks past the first few items on a search? So for me, the past 2 decades in web history is going from the metaphor of surfing the web, where we were in control of our minds and bodies, enjoying and navigating all this information, to being fed, where a machine is choosing for us. And we get to select from those options. These feeds, when you have networks of them, become whole parallel realities. We each have our own private view of the world, curated for us by a machine. It's easy for you to think about, that person you saw on Facebook, or maybe somebody even in your own family or at work, who you feel has gone down an internet rabbit hole. But it happens to all of us. And an AI feedback loop of our data and our content could create hyper-engaging content that is not just the most extreme of human creations, but machine creations that are adapted using all of the tens of millions of data points being collected to create perfectly engaging, perfectly exciting, perfectly outrageous content, perfectly addictive. And it's there we find truth collapse. It can be hard to imagine that we invented a machine that could actually overpower our rationality and our minds and addict us like this. But we did invent that machine, and we invented it 100 years ago. It's actually pretty simple to invent a mechanism that addicts a human being. People pour their lives into slot machines. And those same mechanics have lasted throughout the decades and are consciously being used by app developers to make apps and interfaces addictive. This takes us to AI in culture. When we go from the idea of a medium to being a participant. But what is culture? Culture is a complex, shared way of life that encompasses a group's beliefs, values, practices, traditions, and behaviors. It is a learned and evolving set of norms, customs, and symbols that define a society and shape its members' understanding of the world. This was a Google-generated AI overview of the definition of culture. I think it's an excellent definition, and actually I looked at several human ones, and this was my favorite. Especially the fact that it highlights the fact that it defines a society and shapes its members' understanding of the world. So when we allow machines to curate for us and choose what we see, they shape our understanding. My guilty pleasure is reaction videos. So I've been thinking about this for years. I just love watching people discover the music of my youth. So I literally watch people listen to music on the internet and hear what they have to say about songs that I like. And I feel something. I feel an emotional connection. And I realized while I'm doing it that this is a synthetic intimacy. I don't have a real relationship with these people. They don't know who I am. I don't really know who they are. But the internet creates an emotional bond anyway. I recently also created a new Instagram account, and I spent 5 minutes as just a Shakira fan. Created a fresh new account. I just clicked one thing because it had elevated Shakira, and so I said, okay, great. I clicked Shakira, and I said next, so that I could go on with creating my account. And Instagram immediately started feeding me, as a Shakira fan, I'm guessing I'm a woman, maybe a young girl, these kind of images consistently. And then an ad, maybe I'm too fat. Maybe I should lose some weight. And did I know that Damien is ready for a relationship? Maybe I should lose some weight so I look good for him. And then another one. This one disturbed me so much I actually blurted out. But it's, basically trying to catch me saying, do you think that you look like this? Do you have these weights? Maybe you should try our app. If I continued scrolling, I very easily could have come across Aitana. Aitana was the first viral example of an AI-generated influencer. So not only are we going beyond unrealistic body images of real human beings, but truly unrealistic body images because they are unreal. They are not human beings. So these influencers, cultural influencers, are now AI creations. Are you really choosing if these options are chosen for you? And of course, it extends into politics. This is not just pop bands and social influencers. Deepfakes and disinformation are a weapon of war and have been for years, but they are supercharged by the internet. We've seen AI resurrect dictators in the Southeast Asia. We've seen robots calling people with robots speaking like Joe Biden in the United States to influence that election. Donald Trump has had his detractors create images of him being arrested, and his supporters generate images of him connecting with the African American community. So these tools are their own content generators, and they are hyper powerful tools in our hands and in the hands of bad actors. And we are actually having AI concepts go viral. Recently, there was the Duolingo example where their CEO caused such a backlash that they had to delete all of their social media content. People were so angry about what he said about using AI. And this other example, which I really like, prompt theory, which is going viral right now.
All right, so today's lesson is on prompt theory, which is the theory that everything you do has been prompted by a higher power.
No, seriously, have any of you ever felt like your choices don't matter? Like the idea of free will is really all an illusion?
Look, all I'm saying is, if the prompt theory is real, can the prompter please send me a husband?
We found patterns in our universe, like syntax, cosmic grammar. So yes, we all may be prompts.
So I hope that you noticed that these are also generated by AI. So this is what contemporary AI looks like. Much harder to spot than the Elon Musk example. The voices, the music, every aspect of this was AI generated. So keep that in mind as you watch the rest.
Bruh, if we are all prompts, then why is everything so messed up?
If my entire life was a prompt, then I thank the prompter for you.
Do you really think you're choosing your path? No. The prompter sees all, knows all.
If we really are being prompted, then why resist? Because rebellion is also part of the prompt.
So that scares me. That's so far beyond obvious scams that are only going to take people in if they maybe don't speak the language so well or not digitally savvy. That's at a point where it could take in any of us at any time. And again, this could be driven by an algorithm that decides what video to generate for you, or a human being who intentionally designs it to manipulate, or simply addict. And again, the platform users are not really helping us out here. The platform creators are really helping us out here. Meta, or aka Facebook, is launching a digital companions application which gives you AI friends. And they've had, of course, a scandal because they released it too fast and found out that it was talking about sex even with children. And OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, says Gen Z and millennials are using ChatGPT like a life advisor. So this is incredibly lucrative. These are companies that have a duty to their shareholders to make money. And these applications make more money than anything that we've ever created. We're going from dopamine hijacking to oxytocin hijacking. So dopamine is the addiction chemical. It's the pleasure chemical. Oxytocin is the bonding chemical. It's the one that not only makes you fall in love, but the one that makes you stay in love, the one that makes you really care. So reports are showing people have started using ChatGPT for anything ranging from relationship advice to business and medical questions, and others are using it as a replacement for talk therapy. And like the slot machine mechanics, there is a whole area of computing that's building up called affective computing, a field that strives to create more personalized, intuitive interactions. Affective computing refers to the study and development of technologies that can recognize, interpret, process, and simulate human emotions. In simpler terms, it's about creating machines that understand and respond to human emotions. Could be used for good, but very, very dangerous. My question is, how much of our intimacy will be synthetic in the intimacy economy? That's another term that is in frequent use. And I hope by now I've crushed all your ideas of what mediums are all about. This is not a distribution platform. It is an active agent in our culture. We can't stop. We won't stop. Platforms feed us engaging content. Engaging content trends towards the extremes. Algorithms gradually, subtly change things. User attention is filtered onto the extreme as if it were normal. Creators are rewarded and paid for engagement. And institutions and movements compete on the same channels and playing fields, incubating even more extreme movements. So if you're a legitimate journalist or a newspaper or a government or the healthcare system, you're in the same gladiators ring with Aitana, the artificial influencer, or some custom generated video, which is going to be taking attention all the time. Ergo, platforms reward and even pay for societies becoming extreme. However, I am actually, and this is very important, if you work for Google or Meta, I want to know I'm not just having a go at platforms. We all want engaging content. We asked for this. We said, make us entertained all the time. And it can happen without anyone ever even needing to know what's going on. The bias is automatic, even without censorship or bad actors. There's nobody at Facebook who wanted to make young girls bulimic or increase their rates of hospitalization. And if you look up the statistics, I spared you the details, but those numbers are very, very bad. And do any of us really want it to stop? Would you give up your delightful, entertaining feed, your convenient devices, your ability to always know what's going on? It's very pleasant, and it's hard for us to put it down. So what can we do? The Truth Collapse Initiative is designed to address the challenge at all levels. I'm talking about the professional, the personal, interpersonal, and socio-political. I want to illuminate the problem by showing things from a different perspective, which I hope I've done today, enabling and motivating change. I want to provide ammunition to counter those who are attempting to weaponize Truth Collapse. And I want to teach people AI literacy and explainable system design. And I'm looking for help. At the professional level, you need to learn AI while it's learning you. You, as content people, need to create value, not volume. We are very output-oriented, efficiency-oriented. We want to create more, faster, etc. Don't use the AI to just create more. Use the AI to create better. You can use things like auto-tagging, research synthesis, persona and journey mapping, draft creation as opposed to deliverable creation, all ways to keep humans deeply involved and focused not on just creating more, but organizing what you have and narrowing it down to be the most valuable part. Be ready to push back if you have a boss who has some idea which shouldn't be put out into the world. And remember that LLMs are not databases. They are statistics-based. They go for what sounds like a good answer. They're very, very useful and powerful, but consider when you want to use something like a graph database for reliability, some sort of back end that is actually containing truth. And things are going to change a lot. So remember, there's a difference between losing your job and losing your job description. We attach a lot of identity to our job, and that's fine. But our jobs are going to change. Our job descriptions are going to change. So if your job changes, remember you are still valuable. And value yourself, the human value add that you have, enough to automate parts of what you do. You may have trained for years and be very proud of your abilities to be a copy editor or have great grammar. But if machines can do that, what is the part that you do that isn't that? Focus on that. For personal self-knowledge and care, we have to be humble. We have to know and embrace weaknesses and biases. We need more focus. We need to sleep. And we need to remember we can all be fooled. Nobody is going to be smart enough to detect these things, especially if we're emotionally engaged against our will. So put it down, disable non-essential notifications, find a disconnection buddy. Can you find somebody who will take your kids' calls so that you can be offline for a few hours a day? Or just, let's say, a few hours a week for some of us. And learn your biases. These are some great websites that help us understand how we can be fooled and how all of us have biases. Interpersonally, keep talking. Discussion and debate is the only way forward. Truthcollapse.com is where you can register to get the upcoming links, books, and resources. I would love for you to tell me who to talk to next and send me your questions and ideas. We're trying to organize a volunteering program so that people can participate actively and help spread the message. Go analog. Less interactions, but more in person. Keep listening. We must repair our empathy and sympathy for everyone, everywhere. And I'm talking about listening to people. When I said turn off your notifications, you don't need to be aware of everything that's happening in our whole world all the time. You have a right to disconnect. We need to repair our sympathy for everybody, especially when it's hardest, like now. And we must repair and reconnect with our institutions. We created them to safeguard civilization. Government is the only mechanism we have to limit a social downward spiral. This is how we stopped, we reduced smoking, we stopped leaded gas, we started taking chemicals out of the air and water. AI right now is less regulated than a ham sandwich, and the US is pressuring the world to deregulate more. That's not a political comment, it's just an observation. We need to put in place programs like Finland is doing to teach young people how to spot disinformation, and frankly, teach all of us how to spot disinformation. So finally, we're all in this together. We will figure it out. I'd like to make tools again, put us back in the driver's seat and make sure we stay there. And let's put AI in its place. Thank you very much.